Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Chad Price. Chad, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Quentin. Thanks for having me.
For sure, Chad. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you. The first question that I have for you is, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
Probably Jay Cutler and then Dorian Yates, I suppose. Of course, Ronnie. But
Yeah. That's definitely the generation that I kind of grew up in. So definitely can't go wrong with those three. At what age, Chad, did you start lifting weights, and then why did you start lifting weights at that specific age?
well, actually, I started later. So I joined the Army at 20, or the National Army National Guard at 27. So then we got deployed back in 2013, and then pretty much right then when I started lifting, a bunch of us started going to the gym overseas, and just kind of there's more like a powerlifting, trying to lift as much as we can, as possible. So,
Okay.
and then uh, started bodybuilding, I guess, 2019. So
Pretty recent then, huh?
yeah, it's been pretty recent. I mean, I was getting obviously pretty big just powerlifting, and then a buddy of mine and my wife kind of talked me into my future wife, I guess, but talked me into doing it. So
Okay, cool. We'll get a little bit more into that here in a minute. But before we do, I just kind of want to get a little bit more into your childhood, your upbringing. So if you don't mind, just talk about like where you grew up. Did you play sports as a kid? Just kind of paint that picture of those younger years up to about high school, and then we'll transition from there, Chad.
right on. Yeah, I'm born in Newton, raised in Newton. I don't think been here. Yeah, I played a little. I mean, I wrestled, played some football, baseball, a lot of baseball. I played about up until about my 10th grade year, and I started pissing around with homework and didn't want to do my homework, so really wasn't eligible to play for the rest of the time I was in school. So that's about what happened there. So
Um, any siblings, or were you an only child?
no, I have a younger brother, a younger sister, younger half brother, and a younger half sister as well. So.
Okay, cool. And then in terms of kind of just your childhood and stuff, I mean, so when you say Newton, you're referring to Newton, Iowa, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just for everybody listening, you and
Sorry,
I
yeah,
know
right.
you're from Iowa, but nobody else, or not everybody will know that you're from Iowa. So you grew up in Iowa. Now, how big of a community is Newton? I've heard of it, but I don't know how big of a town it is.
Not too big. I can't even remember the last time we were in 4A, dropped down to 3A, I guess, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I can't remember the actual number in town now.
Probably, I mean, if you're in,
But I mean, we obviously sure, Maytag used to be here. So, and then when they closed, it kind of went downhill a little bit. So,
yeah, probably around 10,000 or something. I'm assuming probably. So,
I think it's more than that, but
okay. Cool. Okay, now life in Iowa growing up. So, I mean, were you kind of obviously like hunting and being outdoors is big in Iowa? I mean, are those some things that shaped your upbringing, or not necessarily?
yeah, I did a lot. So my dad really wasn't around much. So my uncle, my grandpa kind of took over that role. So my uncle would take me hunting a lot. We'd go out deer hunting and pheasant hunting and obviously other stuff like that. And
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty much about it. Got in trouble a little bit, but other than that, it's.
There's not a whole lot to do in Iowa except for drink beer, cause a little trouble, and just play sports for the most part, right, Chad?
Exactly.
Okay, so once you were kind of finishing up high school, what were you thinking about in terms of a job or a career, if you were thinking about that? And then once you graduated high school, how did life kind of unfold for you?
Yeah, my uncle, well, my uncle had a plumbing company, so I went and helped him for a while. Then decided plumbing wasn't really my thing. I didn't really enjoy it. So I signed on being an electrician. So I've been an electrician since 2001.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
So, but now
So
I've moved into the office. Now I estimate, so I got a nice cushy office job. But
yeah. So do you work for somebody, or do you have your own business, or
yeah,
how
I
does
work
that work?
for Van Mon Electric here in Newton, Iowa.
Okay, Cool. Awesome. Okay. So now why don't you talk a little bit about, you said that you joined the Army National Guard a little bit later in life. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So talk about your decision to do that. And what was that experience like? And are you still in the Army National Guard?
Yeah, so 2001 happened obviously, and then so I wanted to join, but I wasn't in the we couldn't able to do it then, I guess. So I had my daughter back in 2002. So I kind of wanted to wait for her to get a little older before I joined. So I joined in like 2007, joined the National Guard. Um, it's kind of, just kept thinking about it. And finally, we were out, the Speedway opened up here in Iowa. And there's a National Guard guy there. So I went up and talked to him, and then the rest was history. So
Okay. So
everybody tried to talk me out of, they wanted me to do an easier job. So instead of doing, combat or uh, shit, I guess I did combat engineering instead of just regular old grunt.
yeah, yeah. Now you said that you deployed. What was that experience like?
It was I liked it without but not being away from my family, obviously. But it was nice. We woke up, you know what you were wearing every day. We go on mission, come back, we'd eat, then we'd go to the gym, and then just repeat every day. So it was pretty nice. We do route clearance, so we go look for roadside bombs for trucking routes and stuff. So
Okay. And then are you still currently in the guard, or have you stepped away from that?
yeah, I stepped away. I think 2015 was my last year. So
Cool. Okay, now before we kind of get into a little bit of bodybuilding talk here, now when were you first? And I know you were kind of into powerlifting first, but like the strength sports, powerlifting, and bodybuilding, like when were you first kind of exposed to? Let's just stick to bodybuilding because that's more what this podcast is about. But I mean, do you remember like seeing like the Flex and Muscular Development magazines when you're younger, or when did you first kind of catch your eye? In terms of like a professional bodybuilder, and do you remember who that was?
oh yeah, yeah. I see in magazines there's big dudes on them. I always wanted to be like that, but I just never, I guess, had the, just to go do it. I guess, always had something going on. I was young, didn't think, about it, and I really wished I would have, but it didn't happen. I really don't remember who I seen on the magazines.
Okay. Well, and
Uh,
I think it's for everybody out there that's watching and listening to this, like we're both from Iowa, and we were saying this before we started the podcast. Like, I mean, the bodybuilding scene in Iowa is pretty much non-existent now. Once you get down around Des Moines, there's a little bit of a bodybuilding scene, but Iowa is not known for bodybuilding. And so, I mean, in all fairness to you, it's like, I mean, where do you even go to even like start thinking about like, because you're in a smaller town, like there might be like a gym or a wellness center like we have connected to the hospital, but like it's not necessarily like bodybuilding centric or even powerlifting. So it's kind of hard to figure that out when you're growing up in Iowa, especially a smaller town. But in all fairness to you, right? I mean,
well,
it's
yeah,
not
we
existing here, right?
Yeah, we had a YMCA, so that's kind of where we started at. So that's
Mm-hmm.
about the only thing that was in town besides the school gym,
Yeah, yeah.
we had some stuff, but
Okay, so in terms of getting into powerlifting, so you really started lifting weights seriously. It sounds like when you were in the Army National Guard. Is that correct?
yeah, when we were in country over in Afghanistan, yep,
Okay.
we were on the U.S. Australian base, so we started out in the U.S. side lifting pounds, and then they closed that side of the base, so we all moved over to the Australian side. And then we was doing kilograms, so we had to have a chart to tell us how much we was actually lifting, of course. But
Right.
that was
Right.
pretty interesting. But
Mm-hmm. So, in terms of getting out of or getting off deployment and then getting out of the Army National Guard, like that's kind of when you really started transitioning into powerlifting. Is that correct, Chad?
yeah, so we did a couple powerlifting kind of like meets kind of thing overseas. So that was pretty exciting. So yeah, I got back, kept with it. started dirty bulking a little bit too much, got a little bigger than what I wanted to, but I never did compete over here because every time I decided I wanted to do something, I always like felt like I got hurt or pulled something and then couldn't compete on anything. So
Okay. So then why don't you talk about transitioning into bodybuilding in 2019 then? You said that a friend or two or somebody kind of encouraged you to do that. So talk about that transition.
yeah, as a Nick Shuey, met him at he was working at a nutrition shop. So we started talking, started being friends, and he suggested it. Then my future wife was with us, and she said, "Yeah, you should try it." So I'm like, "Okay." So I think and then he gave me Tavish's information. That's how I got Tavish's information. We got married October 1 and 19, and then I think we called Tavish at the end of that month and started then.
Okay.
And then I competed 2020. I think it was July.
Okay.
Oh, it was pretty quick, into
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So Tavish, he's been on the podcast, super cool guy. He used to live in Iowa. He's down in Florida now, but so the guy that you connected with at the supplement store, is he the one that gave you Tavish's contact then? Am I following you correctly?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because Tavish used to be his coach as well. So
Okay, cool. Okay, so then why don't you talk about kind of like your first prep and your first competition? How did it go? Did you like it? I mean, everybody's first prep is always a little unique because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. So what was that like for you, Chad?
oh yeah, my first prep, it was brutal, I feel, getting back to like, we was what 8 to 6 weeks out, and just was, crashed. This didn't feel like anything. It was pretty brutal. We had it was kind of a little rough between me and my wife, going through that for the first time, and me acting hot-headed, and just tired all the time. But finally got to the show. I enjoyed it. It was pretty nerve-wracking getting up to the first time. My heart was beating like crazy when I started getting on that stage. It's like, oh boy, here we go, So it was pretty fun. Didn't have much competition in my division, the super heavies. So we won that. I signed up for the novice and the super heavies, I think the 35 and older one too, because Tavish wanted me to get it as many as I could. So just to get the experience of being out on that stage. So we did that. Lost in the overall to one of my other good buddies now that lives over in Omaha. So yeah, but you create pretty good friends through this thing.
Now, did you compete in an NPC show there in Iowa then?
Yes, I competed in NPC show. So that qualified me, since I won the super heavies, qualified me Nationals.
Yeah.
So
okay, so I don't compete in the NPC. I keep a little bit of an eye on it here locally in Iowa, but what has the local NPC community, has it kind of grown? Is it growing in Iowa? Do you feel like down in that Des Moines area? Because that's where the NPC competitions are there. I don't think there's anywhere else in the state. So have you seen it starting to grow over the last couple of years or not really?
yeah, it's I think it's gained some more people, definitely. They just had we have actually two shows in Des Moines now. There's one in the spring, and then there's one actually in like a couple weeks in November. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty full when we go there.
Cool.
Yeah, because I think he just started that maybe 3 years ago in Des Moines, and it's pretty packed every time. A lot of bikini girls though, but
Yeah, well, that's kind of at every show. I just know that it's good to have some NPC competitions in Iowa, and I think it's who's the head of the NPC in the Midwest? He's out of Missouri, correct?
yeah, it's oh shoot,
I can't remember his name. His wife
yeah,
was.
I got it. God dang it, I can't. Jack Catone.
There we go. Yeah. Because his wife was an Olympian and stuff, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I know he's he puts on competitions like in Iowa, and they've got some like in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Omaha, kind of this Midwest area. So that's good because he definitely seems to have a mind for bodybuilding and understand how to put on competitions and kind of gets it right, Jack.
Yeah, because he's got a pretty good sized one in St. Louis as well, and I think he does one in Arkansas. So kind of like the Midwest area. So
okay, cool. Okay, so 2019 was the first time you competed, or is that when you actually started bodybuilding?
when I actually started bodybuilding.
Okay, so then your first competition was it in 2020 then?
2020, yes.
Okay,
We were supposed to, during the great COVID time, we were supposed to do it at the big chai arena over in Omaha, but it got moved to, I think, the Radisson, or not the Radisson, Ramada. But I already had the hotel, right across the street from there, so we had to drive a little bit, but it was no.
Okay. So did you in 2020 then, after you did your first competition, you qualified for the national stage? Did you compete in a pro qualifier then later that year?
No, we took the year, and then he wanted me to kind of just relax, try to get a little more size. So we decided to do 2021 the junior USAs.
Okay. And how did that go?
Oh wait, well, we didn't quite get there for that one, so we switched shows to the junior Nats in the Chattanooga.
Okay, how did that go?
It went pretty good. It was that show was, obviously a lot bigger than the Omaha one, so it was my first experience, in a bigger show, so it was pretty nice. I think we got fourth in the super heavies. So
okay. So when you first started, when you first reached out to Tavish and said, "Hey, will you coach me?" Obviously, I'm sure that he asked you, for some photos of yourself, kind of where you're at that point. I mean, what were some of the strong points that Tavish kind of told you, like, "Hey, Chad, like, here's some of your strong points, and here's some of the areas that we really need to focus on in terms of body parts bringing up."
it's mostly, I mean, I was pretty good size, so that helped a lot. My chest is good, and he just wanted me to work on the back and get my legs, I guess, more detailed.
Okay. And is that kind of still what you've been focusing on over the last year then?
Yeah, we've been trying to grow the lats. I think we did that pretty good. I've been trying to get my biceps a little bigger as well. Yeah, legs are good, but they're starting to shrink a little bit with all the cardio, but
Yeah.
that happens.
Okay, now so you competed in 2021. Did you just do that one competition, or did you do a couple of them in 2021?
No, yeah, we just did the one.
Okay, and then have you competed at all this year, or are you just going into nationals in December?
Yeah, just nationals in December.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, actually, we're supposed to do. I'm sorry. We're gonna do the Pittsburgh show, but my back went out on me, so I was laid out for a couple weeks. Couldn't do cardio, couldn't lift, so that kind of threw us a little backwards. But it helped for this prep because I'll be able to eat more food for now, so that's good.
Did you? Is your back feeling better? What did you go to the chiropractor? What did you kind of have to do?
Yeah, we've been going to the chiropractor. I mean, this has happened before. I mean, even when I was overseas, it locked up on me once. I don't know what it is. We haven't got an MRI, nothing yet, but yeah, the chiropractor usually gets me pretty straightened out. A lot of heating pads and ice packs.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going into nationals. What is it about? Is it 8-9 weeks, or is it less than that now?
We're at 6.
6 weeks. Okay, it's coming up quick.
Yeah, time's flying by.
Yeah, and I keep getting mixed up between nationals and then the Olympia, which will be a couple weeks later. So now what is kind of you and Tavish's goal for nationals this year? I mean, what do you want to accomplish this year on that national stage, Chad?
Well, we obviously want to be in the first call out this year, so that's what our goal is. Obviously, the win would be better, but
okay. So then, depending upon how nationals go, do you guys kind of have a game plan going into 2023, or is it just kind of all dependent upon what happens at nationals?
Yeah, it all depends on what happens at nationals.
Okay. What's your end goal for competitive bodybuilding?
Well, I'd like to obviously get my pro card would be the main goal I want to get. And then at least do one show, see how we do, go from there.
Okay. And you're over 35, so you can get a pro card as a master at some point if that presented itself, right?
That's correct, but I'd rather just get one in a open show, I guess,
No, I get it.
I'm actually like 40, I think 43. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
on the older side of things. So I'm trying to get as much done as I possibly, I started everything late in life for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the way it goes.
That's all good, man. And you know what? That age, they say that it's more of your training age than anything. So I mean, you're probably could be considered like a newbie in terms of like your training specifically for bodybuilding, and that could really benefit you moving forward. So okay, so let's talk about training, because people like to talk about training. They like to hear what you guys are doing for training. First question I have for you, Chad, is do you feel like having some sort of like powerlifting, power building background was a great foundation for you to transition into bodybuilding and having maybe some of that muscle already, or not necessarily?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because I feel like if you're the stronger you are, obviously the more weight you can lift up, you can do more heavier weights for reps to grow that muscle a lot.
Yeah.
Bigger
Okay.
Yeah, starting out from nothing,
Mm-hmm. So what's kind of your training style or training philosophy as a bodybuilder? What does it kind of look like?
Usually we just, warm up, do our feeder sets, and then do our top set, and then do like a back off. Usually is what I do.
Okay.
But
What's
on accessories, just kind of just hit them,
okay?
15-ish.
Okay. What's your current training split been for this prep?
So I've been doing chest and then back, then usually like a day off, and then then I hit legs and then shoulders, and then another day off, and then repeat.
Okay.
Then I think, well, no, 2 back days. I'm sorry. So we've been putting 2 back days in.
Okay. And are those 2 back days, is one more of like working on like your width for your lats, and then more is like thickness for the middle and upper back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. One's width, one's thickness.
Okay. And then where do you put arms at? Do you kind of scatter that throughout, or what?
Yeah, I usually put chest will do triceps, and then back will do biceps, and then shoulders will do triceps. So we're hitting them pretty much 2 times a week.
Okay, cool.
Well.
Awesome. Very cool. Do you kind of keep an eye on any of the other guys that you're going to be competing against in the super heavies for nationals, or you not really pay attention to that type of stuff?
Kind of a little bit. I mean, I competed against oh shit. Sessfold, is that right?
Yeah, Cole Eastfold.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yep. I know a lot of people by their Instagram names, So yeah, Cole, we competed together down in Chattanooga. So I kind of been watching him a little bit. Some of the guys you've had on, I've kind of checked out their Instagram and see kind of where they're at. So
Okay, cool.
but I really don't pay too much attention to most of that stuff,
Yeah.
I think it just gets in your head and you start, doing the wrong things.
Yeah, starts playing games with your mind, doesn't it? So plus you've got a full-time career, and you're a family man. So I mean, it's not like you're just gonna be sitting on Instagram all day, right, Chad?
No, my days are pretty packed from about 4:45 in the morning till about 10:30 at night. So
Yeah. Wow.
these are long days. So
For sure. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. You mentioned how much cardio you're doing before we jumped on the podcast. So why don't you share with everybody? Actually, why don't you just kind of walk us through what a normal, typical day is for you? And I want you to do this, Chad, because the quote unquote dream out there is to become an IFBB pro, be an online coach, and be a full-time bodybuilder, and just like stay at home and sit behind your computer all day. But that's not the reality for most people, right? So why don't you, when your eyes wake up in the morning, what time is it usually? And why don't you just kind of walk us through a normal, typical day? Because you are a dad, you're a husband, you've got a full-time job. Walk us through a normal day so that we can kind of understand what life is like for Chad Price.
So yeah, so my normal day is I wake up about 4:45, get dressed for cardio, come downstairs, try to get down here about 5 o'clock, do 45 minutes on the stair stepper. Get done with that, cook my breakfast, then go obviously get ready for work. Be ready for work, be at work at 7, and then I work till about 5 o'clock. Come home, try and take, like 30 minutes, an hour, just kind of relaxing, talk to the wife, the kids, and then go out to the gym, hit the gym for, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever we're working on, come back in, take another, it was 25, you pumped up 30. So 30 minutes now on the stair stepper again, eat. And then, depending on the time, we got a couple hours in between there, have my last meal, then try and go to bed, watch a little bit of TV in that little 2 hour window, or do something with the kids or something.
Okay. All right. Now, you have, now from your Instagram, it looks like you have a pretty good, home gym set up in your garage. Is that where you train for the most part? Was I correct on seeing that and saying
Yep.
that?
Yeah, we've got a pretty good home gym. We started building it right before COVID because we were at the gym a lot and the kids traveling them back and forth in the kids club. And we are like, they'd be better off being home. So we started getting stuff so we could just work out at home. They can be there with us. So that's kind of why we started that. And then COVID happened and it actually worked out pretty good, so they shut down the gym. So
Yeah.
that worked out for us. Yeah, we do. We mostly work out Mondays, Tuesdays. Usually I take Wednesdays off because we have all the kids. And then Thursdays we usually head up to Des Moines, hit like Des Moines Barbell or go to a Genesis or another gym, work out there. Fridays, either sometimes we go up to Des Moines, sometimes we stay home. And Saturdays we usually try to hit Des Moines. And then Sundays we're usually at home. So that's kind of how our days work, just to get around people, train with other people, kind of helps. We got a good group of guys at a couple of them gyms we like to talk to, and
Yeah.
so.
Are you, you ever train at 22nd Street Barbell or not?
Yeah, I've trained there a couple of times. Yep.
Cool.
And
Yeah,
usually when they have the competition in town, one of the judges, like my buddy from Omaha, that Nick Langer, we'll go in between the morning and the finals. We'll go to 22nd Street, get a workout in together, then do stuff like that.
Yeah, Wes Keith, who's the owner of the gym, I've connected with him a couple times. Just a really, really cool guy, and
He's pretty awesome. I like him.
Yeah. I first trained at 22nd Street when it was down in the basement of Merle Hay Mall, and I thought that was like that was the coolest location for a hardcore gym I've ever seen. It was like trying to find it. It's like the door to go downstairs is like behind like a big garbage dumpster. You know what I mean? It was like, and then you just like walk down like 50 flight of stairs into the basement of a mall, and you got the music's like blasting. I'm like, wow. I was like, if this isn't hardcore, I don't know what is. So, but it looks like I haven't been there for over a year, but it looks like they're really starting to get some solid bodybuilding equipment and stuff there outside of just the powerlifting stuff, right?
Yeah, he's trying to put in some new equipment. It looks like, yeah.
Okay.
I think he's still lacking on the dumbbell part, but for the most part, he's got some machines in there.
Yeah. And then the owner of Des Moines Barbell, on another podcast that I had, I had him on. He's a super cool guy. That gym's pretty legit too, right?
Yeah, we were just there yesterday working out, and he is doing the same thing. He's actually putting more bodybuilding equipment in as well instead of all the powerlifting stuff there. So, and the music just blaring, and it's pretty. I like that.
Yeah. Is there I mean, the Gold's Gym there on 22nd Street in West Des Moines, I know it's closed down. Is there like a legit real bodybuilding gym only in Des Moines, or is it just kind of a mixture of different gyms?
Just a mixture. I mean, that's the sad part. I mean, we go to all these, like we was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and the gyms out there are just amazing. Everything you need, you got it. You're so accommodating, and then you come back here and it's like, I mean, it's pretty frustrating, yeah, because we don't have something like that in town. So,
well, maybe you need to open up a gym. What do you
well,
think?
I really want to. That'd be the dream right there too. be able to do that all day long. I would love that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Okay. So, in terms of, being at work, being an electrician, what does that look like in terms of you getting your bodybuilding meals in? Is it pretty easy or is it challenging at times? Talk about that for a minute.
yeah, I'd say it's really actually pretty easy. My company's pretty accommodating. So yeah, I think I eat my second meal about 9:30, eat my third meal about 11:30, 12. And then my last meal, about an hour before I work out. So I try to hit it at 4:30. And then so yeah, I can pretty much eat whenever I need to there. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, so
Now,
that helps out a lot. I know if I was out in the field, that would be more of a difficult, problem to handle, but got pretty lucky.
now, in terms of being an electrician, my brother-in-law is actually an electrician down in Urbandale, and he travels all over. But what's kind of like, in terms of being an electrician and being in that type of a career field? I mean, are you more like in the office? Are you out in the field traveling around? What is it? What do you kind of do on the day to day, Chad?
I'm in the office about 99% of the time. I sit there and I look at blueprints and figure out how much can it cost to do the job. And mostly it's commercial jobs, schools, uh, restaurants, just stuff like that.
Cool.
So that's pretty much all I do. So I sit on my butt. That's the part that don't really help. I mean, if I was up moving, it'd probably be better, but that's probably why I have to do all this cardio, I guess.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So is all of your cardio on the Stepmaster, or do you kind of split it up?
Yeah, most of it's on the step master. It's about the only thing. I mean, it kind of gets my heart rate up pretty easy. I do have a Rogue Echo bike. I do that every once in a while too. We got a treadmill here as well, but I don't know, not really a big fan of treadmills. I guess I'll just go walk outside if I want to. I guess
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
for when it's really cold. But
Okay. All right. So going back to your home/garage gym, what's your favorite piece of equipment in there right now?
right now, shoot. Um, I think all my dumbbells. I'm pretty proud of those. They go up to 150. So
Nice. Okay.
pretty happy about that. I got more stuff than some of these gyms in Newton, obviously. So
What brand are the dumbbells? Anything?
they're Empire. They're out of Pittsburgh. Tavish hooked me up with them as well. So
Nice.
that's pretty nice.
What's in terms of like equipment, like hammer strength, or I can't even keep track of all the new ones, but is there like a specific go-to brand that you really like, whether that's again hammer strength or strive or whatever all these are nowadays? I mean, what's your go-to in terms of like, okay, if I could pick like 3 or 4 pieces from this brand, I'm going to go with this brand.
I would say Arsenal.
Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah, I
Cool.
used their. We were out in Vegas last year. We went to the Dragon's Lair, and that's all he has in there, and all that stuff is pretty smooth. It's pretty awesome stuff.
Okay.
Arsenal, Prime is pretty good stuff too, as well. The
Okay.
newer
So
stuff, I guess.
what's that?
The newer stuff, but there's a couple old pieces that are pretty cool.
Yeah. 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 Now, you said you were out in Vegas a couple weeks ago. I saw some pictures from on your Instagram about that. What were you doing out there? Was that for your job or?
No, we just go out there. We try and go out there on our anniversary, around our anniversary every year, just to go out there, relax, get out of Iowa, enjoy some heat and some desert life.
Yeah. Yeah. Which gyms did you go to when you were out there this last time?
I was actually planning on going to about 2 or 3. I wanted to go to the Dragon's Lair again and pick another one, but we went to the Fit Club that first day because we haven't been there and I wanted to go there. And they were pretty accommodating. They gave us a 10 card punch, so I was like, "Shit, we'll just stay here the whole week." So we just worked out there. Got to talk to the owner. He's a pretty cool dude. We kind of hit it off pretty good, so that was pretty nice.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
No, did you see Jay Cutler wandering around there or not?
I didn't. No, he wasn't there when I was there. I didn't see really too many. I mean, we went early because we wanted to do stuff in the day, so we went in the morning. I bet if we went in the afternoon, we'd probably have seen
Okay.
more of those guys. But
Yeah. Yeah, because when it's just through social media, it's like, man, you go to any gym in Vegas, you might run into Jay Cutler, Regan Grimes. I mean, Flex Lewis. Who knows who's
Yeah, it looks like he was Reagan Grimes was there, like looked like a day or two after we left. So
yeah. Yeah, I think that's from my understanding, what I've gathered through social media, that's where Regan's doing most of his training now, is out of Fit Club. He's working with that guy, the main trainer out of there that has, I think, the newbie or something machine, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah. I talked to him quite a bit too when I was
okay,
out.
pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. Yep. A lot of information and
Okay,
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he had a. I think the whole time he was there, he pretty much had somebody hooked up to that machine the whole time he was out there. So I was like, how much would that be? To do that. So
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever you've never used one of those machines yet?
I've never. I know Tavish has one. He's used it a couple times. Yeah, the guy said it's amazing. He said, you put it on your muscle group, you don't have to go as heavy, and the pump you get is just ridiculous. He said, and he said it stays around for like about 3 days.
Okay.
So he said a lot of girls use it on their glutes when they want to do a photo shoot. He told me.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
What's in terms of how many kids do you have? Let me ask you that first.
Well, we have 3 total. One's mine and 2 is hers. So
Okay. Okay.
we don't have one together yet. So
Okay. All right. So what and it's I think you said you had your daughter. Looks like she just graduate this past May from high
yeah,
school or college, or
my daughter graduated, this last year. And then the other girls are 5 and 10.
okay. So when you had your daughter, the one that just graduated, did that kind of change your life a little bit and give you a different perspective? Talk about that for a minute.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You just never know how much you actually love somebody until you have a child. It's crazy.
Yeah. Especially a dad having a daughter, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now I got 3. So I got 4 girls living in the house now. So it's like, it's,
You gotta be on your best behavior then, Chad, huh?
yeah, I got to try to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Are there any guys currently in the IFBB Pro that you really kind of like their physiques, or kind of just respect their mentality and how they carry themselves? If so, who's that, Chad?
Yeah. I like Ian Valier. I think he makes me laugh too. So I like him. I like, how big, I like the bigger guys pretty much. Walker, there's one more guy too. I can't remember what the
Brett Wilkin, Iowa boy.
yeah, he's Iowa boy. I've worked out with him a couple times at the Aspen on Hickman. Yeah, I just like the bigger dudes.
Yeah.
I like watching them.
Okay. That's funny. You said Aspen on Hickman. That's so my sister, I have an older half brother and older half sister. Okay. When we moved up here to Cherokee when I was like 3 years old, everybody moved up here except for my older half sister, because she was, I think, going into her senior year in high school, and she stayed down there in the Des Moines area. Okay. And that's where she went to college, went to Iowa State, all that. But so when we used to go down there to the Des Moines area to visit her when I was a kid, because I started lifting weights going into 4th grade, I would often go to that Hickman, the Hickman Road, Aspen, because they had, I was big into basketball. So they had the basketball courts, they had the weights and everything. And so that's funny you bring that up. That thing's been there for years. It's still there, isn't it?
It's still there. Genesis took it over, or Purist took over all the Aspens except for the one in Ankeny, I think. So they're all Genesis now. So
okay.
They were supposed to redo it. I don't know if they have. We haven't been to that one because it kind of got, I don't know, it kind of got like there's a weird group in there. So we went to the Merle Hay location instead and met some pretty cool people there too.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's always good talking to somebody in that area, because I've been down there a lot. My parents actually live down in Creston, if you know where that's at, Creston, Iowa.
Yeah, my sister used to live in Greenfield.
Okay, yeah, okay. So going down there, so bringing up some of those gyms, it's funny because I've trained at a lot of those gyms that you've brought up. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here in a quick minute. Chad, what in terms of I guess we kind of already talked about your future and what you kind of want to accomplish as a pro. Is there anything outside of being an electrician? Like, do you do any coaching yourself? Is that something you kind of want to get into? Talk about that. Is there anything that you're trying to pursue fitness wise or bodybuilding wise in terms of making maybe a career you know, outside of being an electrician?
Not really. I mean, it'd be nice. I don't know. I really don't. Uh, I mean, I've trained like a couple people, just kind of get, newbies, just, technique and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be good at coaching people, I guess. So maybe down the future, maybe in the future, maybe. But like right now, like I'm so busy with everything, it's just kind of hard to have something else, on the side as well.
Yeah,
But which would be nice. I wouldn't have to be at the job for 10 hours, but
for sure.
but I
Absolutely,
don't.
man.
But yeah, opening a gym would be probably the thing I would rather do, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something you should definitely consider, and I think there's definitely you know, maybe not the bodybuilding scene down in Des Moines, but definitely there's a fitness scene. And there's a lot of money down in that area. So if you do it right, I definitely think you could come out you know, on the positive end. That's the thing. Like I own a small gym here in Cherokee, Iowa, where I live, and you know, until you actually own a gym, you don't really get it. Just like you don't really get bodybuilding until you actually go through your first prep and step on a stage. Like there's so much that goes into it in terms of like profit and making sure that you're doing it so that you can at least keep the lights on. Because you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I love lifting weights, I love bodybuilding, I'm going to open up my own gym, or I love to drink beer, so I'm going to open up my own bar, or I love to work on cars, I'm gonna open up my own auto mechanic shop. And like that's all good, but there's the business side of everything too, to keep your lights on, to keep customers happy. And that's always, until you actually do it, it can be a challenge, you know. But again, I think there's definitely a growing bodybuilding scene down in that area, and there's definitely the money down in that Des Moines area. So it can be done if it's done right, for sure. I
Oh,
want to ask
yeah,
you,
definitely. I mean, I
go for
know
it,
like
Bud.
a lot of people is, that are looking for me, like looking for an actual bodybuilding gym to go to. So I think, I mean, you can get, I know like 10 people, but you need way more than that, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
it's a gamble on it, just got to go jump in, I guess, one of these days. So,
Yeah. Well, you know, Cole Eastfold, he's up in Minnesota, probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours away. But him and I think it's Braden Brantley, who was an IFBB Pro classic physique guy. They're in the same town, and they have a it's called the Den, and they have a private gym, and it doesn't look like it's huge, but it's got like all the equipment you need for obviously bodybuilding. But I think that's kind of a great idea. Is that it's a private gym. You know, they it's like key card or phone access, and it's limited membership. And I think starting out, especially like in a non-bodybuilding area like, you know, Iowa, Des Moines, like starting off with something smaller, something that's more private, and it's just like maybe you have some higher rates, and that might be the way to go. I don't know, but I like what they're doing up there. It seems to be very smart and going well for them. I want to ask you here, wrapping up, Chad. It looks like you got some serious ink on you. When did you start getting tattoos, man?
I started when I was 18. So,
Okay.
and then this arm sleeve was shit. Before, I think it was before I started before I joined the army. So,
Okay. Now
and then,
that neck
and
piece,
this,
dude.
yeah, this one was only a couple years old. So,
Did you?
well, I want to get a tattoo, and I don't want to cover up anything else,
Yeah.
And so I was like, shit, I'll just put it on my neck. It's fine. I just want to, you know, feel the pain, I guess. Like suffering, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. So okay, being 1,000% honest, you can't be the tough Chad Price right now. I mean, on a pain scale of 1 to 10, what was that right there in the middle of your neck? What was that? Because I tell people all the time, like, that's got to be the most painful tattoo ever.
Oh
On
yeah,
a scale of 1 to 10, what was it?
I call it a 10.
Okay.
It
Okay.
felt like raw hamburger in there. I ain't gonna lie. I had a couple tears, and
Oh.
I was holding my wife's hand. She was in there with me. But I mean, I have one on my calf too, and that one hurt pretty bad too. You wouldn't think it would, but it
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, much respect, man. That's one place I will never get tattoos, that's for sure. I got both of my hands covered, and that was pretty painful. But that right there, no, thank you. So
It wasn't very fun. I had to do 2 sessions, and that second time going back was like, oh Christ.
yeah.
I hated my
You
life.
get it done down there in Des Moines somewhere, or they're in your town?
Yeah, Grimes, suburb of Des Moines.
Yep.
Got a
Okay.
guy over there. My other guy, he kind of went up to Waterloo, and I really don't feel like driving to Waterloo to get it done. So I just found another guy, I guess.
All right, cool. Okay, Chad. Well, we're gonna kind of wrap it up, man. First of all, thank you for coming on, man, and chopping up with us a little bit. I know you're 6 weeks out from nationals, so the energy and everything's a little probably a little off balance right now, right? But I do thank you for coming on. Before I do a quick outro and we wrap it up, anything that you want to leave us with? Why don't you give us your Instagram? Any shout outs? I'm going to turn it over to you, and then I'll do a quick outro. So the platform is yours, Chad.
All right. Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here. Yeah, my Instagram is maximum effort NPC. There's some slashes in there too, about where they're at. So shout out to my coach Tavish. I wouldn't be doing this without him. I mean, he's, he does my workouts, my meals, gets me going. And so I really appreciate him a lot. So, and then my wife, I won't be doing that with her either, because she pretty much cooks all my food and gets me in the right direction most of the time. So she's really big help. So
Yeah. Cool, man. All right. Well, good luck in 6 weeks, Chad. And we might have to get you back on for round 2 at some point, if that's okay with you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Cool.
I had a good time. I appreciate it. I was really nervous when I was like, I get kind of nervous a little bit. So, but it wasn't.
You're fine, man. You're fine. You know what? There's so many guys that come on here that, after the fact, and I've done over 200 episodes with this podcast. I've been doing this for over 4 years. I've kind of seen a little bit of everything, and I'm pretty good at feeling like people's energy, even through a computer screen. So I can kind of tell when people are a little a little nervous and whatever. And it's all good, but it's always funny. Like once we're done recording, a lot of guys will be like, "Oh man, like that was my first one. I was so nervous, and did I do okay?" I'm like, "Hey, it was all good. It's all good." So thank you so much, Chad. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. I appreciate all of you. I value all of you. If you guys have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I release all these episodes first on YouTube, and then I'll distribute them to iTunes, Castbox, and some of the other major podcast platforms. So if you want to stay up current on all the latest Behind the Muscle podcast episodes, make sure you are a subscriber to BTM on YouTube. Also, take this episode of Chad. Make sure you share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Chad. Make sure you tag his coach, Tavish. And then also don't forget to tag Behind the Muscle podcast. That's a great way for people that have not found BTM yet to find it. They're going to listen, they're going to watch, and they're going to be positively impacted through these coaches and athlete stories that they're sharing on the podcast. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.